So for those of you guys that have been rocking with me, even on my basketball channel, you would know that my main bread and butter is trade news. And it's kind of like my favorite because it gives me an opportunity to have days like today where I upload a video for you guys in the early afternoon. And then we get some crazy news like this and I have to make another video. So get ready for a bunch of double upload days, guys. And please turn on notifications, hit that subscriber button, and drop a like if you want to support my content. We are almost at 40,000 subscribers, and the NFL draft is literally this week, man. I cannot freaking wait. So before we get to the OBJ news, we have to cover the Leonard Fournette news, because the Leonard Fournette news is some really, really funny news, guys. So I'm going to catch you guys up on everything. So you know about Cam Newton. We all understand that Cam Newton recently got released by the Carolina Panthers due to his injury concerns, and the Panthers didn't really trust whether they could continue forward with their former #1 overall pick from the 2011 NFL draft. Now, I understand that, you're paying Cam Newton a lot of money. You got a brand new head coach. The entire concept of the Carolina Panthers moving on from Cam Newton has been covered in previous videos before. But what I want to discuss here is something that I thought was so freaking funny. So this past year for the Jacksonville Jaguars, the quarterback situation has been a strange one, to say the least. They started out last year by signing Nick Foles to a huge contract. He was going to be the face of their franchise, and he's been to the Super Bowl before. You're going to give him a good defense. You're going to give him some solid wide receivers. Life's going to be good. The Jaguars literally had the perfect offense for Nick Foles. They were going to run a ton of RPOs. D.D. Westbrook was supposed to be a huge fantasy football threat. Well, come week 1 and Nick Foles gets knocked out of commission, and you insert Gardner Minshew. And Minshew mania happened. He wasn't the greatest, but he was pretty freaking good. He was probably the best quarterback that the Jacksonville Jaguars had in the past 10 years. That's saying something, considering the fact that, well, it's saying something, but at the same time, it's not really saying much, because the past 10 years, they had the likes of Blake Bortles, Blaine Gabbert, Chad Henne under center, but it's probably the best quarterback they've had in some time. But then their number 4 pick in the 2017 NFL draft, a player which, by the way, I've always been very high up on, Leonard Fournette, went on First Take on Thursday and advocated for the Jaguars to sign Cam Newton. And he had this to say. He said, Cam went to the Super Bowl. He's a great guy. I've been knowing Cam for a minute now, and like I told some people that talked to me, it's no disrespect to Minshew. I'm just trying to get into the best position as a team so that we can win. That's all that was about, just a friendly competition, because that brings out the best in people. And here's the thing, I don't blame Leonard Fournette for saying what he said, but Leonard Fournette clearly doesn't have the right idea of his role in the Jacksonville Jaguars organization, because the very next day, his head coach, Doug Marrone, came out and has this to say. With players, you're always going to have friends who say like, hey, this guy should come or that guy should come. And you try to talk to the players about talking about the team and doing what is best and keeping a single message. But then a lot of times you're going to have to be able to communicate in that locker room. I mean, that is a big thing with me. I mean, we all talk about men are all men and everything. When you are in that locker room, you've got to say, hey, listen, I said this because I really think this is best for the team. And if you can't say this is what's best for the team, then you're going to have issues. It's not like a coach can get in between two players and fix something. These things have to be fixed among each other at times, and the coach can go in there and try to guide it through. So here's the thing about the Jacksonville Jaguars that I've come to notice, because immediately after this, we got a report earlier today that the Jacksonville Jaguars are trying to trade Leonard Fournette before the draft. And this made me realize something. The Jacksonville Jaguars absolutely have zero patience whatsoever, to an absolutely disgusting degree. I mean, think about it. They drafted Leonard Fournette literally 3 years ago, and after having a pretty solid rookie year, an injury-riddled second year, and a fairly decent third year, they're trying to move on from him. And again, he is improving, and it's pretty much to their benefit to keep him, because you're getting a running back that's fairly serviceable, but isn't going to be demanding a huge salary. I mean, like, if you look at Leonard Fournette's production, he's averaged 1,152 yards this season on 4.5 yards per carry. He had 3 touchdowns rushing, and he showed some improvement as a receiver. He had 500 yards receiving. So if you ask me, it's to your benefit to keep Leonard Fournette. But if there's something I noticed about the Jaguars, they gave up on Nick Foles literally within like 3 attempts of using him. They inserted him in week 1. He got injured. And then after he got injured, of course, Minshew Mania took over. But you reinsert a brand new quarterback in at like, I don't know when it was. It was like the latter part of the season. And clearly he's not going to be as good as he was in the beginning. It's a brand new system for him too. And then they just punted on him like immediately after paying him that much money. So if you ask me, I don't think the Jaguars are the most patient of franchises, which is really a shame because 2017 was the year that they went to the AFC Championship. And from that team, here's all the players that they lost. They lost Blake Bortles, Barry Church, Tayshaun Gibson, Aaron Colvin, Malik Jackson, Marcel Darius, Dante Fowler, and they just lost Calais Campbell, AJ Boye, and Jalen Ramsey over the span of the last year. So it's really sad to see that the Jacksonville Jaguars literally were on the cusp of greatness and then completely screwed it up with mismanagement. Here's to hoping that they'll be able to rebuild it, but I really don't understand why they'd be so quick to punt on Leonard Fournette. Now we get on to the Odell Beckham Jr. news, and I apologize if the Leonard Fournette news was a little bit drawn out. I apologize if you clicked on this video for one piece of news and not the other. I figured these both topics wouldn't be able to make their own separate video, so I kind of sandwiched them in together because there's going to be a lot of videos like this, guys. There's going to be a lot of content where I'm going to hear trade rumors from like 3 to 4 different teams, and I want to smash it in all in one video. So if that bothers you, I apologize. I'll try to revise my format if it does. But I came out this past week, and I even made a video earlier about 2 days ago about players. So for those of you guys that didn't know, Odell Beckham Jr. has been linked to the Minnesota Vikings all offseason, and OBJ is used to having the spotlight on him at this point. So he's not going to make a big deal out of the situation. But after the initial rumor that we covered on this channel about Odell Beckham Jr. potentially being traded to the Minnesota Vikings for a 2nd-round pick and a 5th-round pick, we found out literally on the same day that news report is bogus. But we also know that Odell Beckham Jr. would love to go to Minnesota because he feels like he'd be a good fit there, and they're on the cusp of contending, and they could use a wide receiver to pair with Adam Thielen. But here's the thing. One is that this year is a very, very deep wide receiver draft. I know some of you guys don't like when I say that, but it's the truth. I want you guys to go into the NFL draft and remember the fact that I said multiple times that this is a deep wide receiver draft. And if I happen to make myself look like an idiot and 3 years down the line, we're going to look back on this NFL draft and it's not going to be that great of an NFL draft, then we could roast Mikerophone over here. But here's the thing. Despite those rumors about the Minnesota Vikings and the Cleveland Browns trying to conduct a trade for Odell Beckham being bogus, there's many people in the NFL, many GMs in the NFL that know for a fact that the Browns are going to move on from OBJ this season or this offseason. And it's for one simple reason. It's the fact that Odell Beckham Jr. and the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield, apparently don't get along with each other. Apparently they have chemistry issues. And that's really, really surprising to me. Well, no, not really. If you think of Baker Mayfield's demeanor, you know, there's this like one joke about Baker Mayfield, and I don't want to judge him because he's only been in the NFL for 2 years. He had a good rookie season, and then he had the sophomore slump, and Cleveland Browns fans will point to the fact that he didn't have the greatest head coach in his second season, but a lot of people like to make this joke about Baker Mayfield about how he's only really good when he's the underdog and people are counting him out, but once he's no longer the underdog, he's not good anymore. There's that joke about him. But if you ask me, I could understand, I could see them having issues in the locker room based off of the way Baker Mayfield carries himself and based off of the way Odell Beckham typically behaves out in the spotlight. With all due respect to OBJ, I love what he does on the field. He has the reputation of being a little bit of a diva, whereas Baker Mayfield has the reputation of being extremely cocky. We've heard it many times. This isn't the first time you heard it. It's not the first time I've heard it, and I don't have any empirical evidence to prove this to you other than the fact that, Odell Beckham Jr. has been recorded hitting a field goal net before when he was with the New York Giants, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you about Baker Mayfield. If you ask me, I would be prepared for the Cleveland Browns to be willing to trade Odell Beckham on draft day or at some point this offseason. He is just too valuable of an asset and they're not getting their return out of him. So I would expect him to get traded at some point. Now, something I want you guys to bear in mind as you're watching this news video, guys, is the fact that both of these franchises are notorious for making very impulsive roster decisions, especially ones where they think it would dramatically improve their team if they really need momentum. So the Browns will definitely do their best to trade Odell Beckham Jr. And the Jaguars, they've just been selling house, man. I don't even know what they're trying to do. So be on the lookout and let me know in the comment section down below, what team do you think is the most likely to trade for Leonard Fournette and Odell Beckham Jr.? If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. I'm your boy Microphone, and let me know in the comment section down below if there's any news that you felt like I've missed.